On your market, get set. Can't forget to go. In case you didn't know, the flow is fat like Joe.
Now that I escape, sleepwalk, awake. Those who correlate know the world ain't kick. Jail bars ain't golden gates. Those who fake, they break. When they meet their 400-pound mate, if I could rule the world, everyone would have a gun and together, of course, we could be up and on their horse. Kick around, drinking moonshine. I pour a sip on the concrete. Go ahead and cease, but no, don't weep. Why Clef's in a state of sleep, thinking about the robbery that I did last week. Money in the bag, banker look like a drag. I wanna play with pelicans from here to Baghdad.
Thanks, Harry, for all the hip hop music. Hey, ho, hooray. 50 years of hip hop. I think there's all kinds of documentaries and stuff going on. So if you're feeling so inclined, tune in. Seriously. Who knew? And listen, we've lost some great rappers, artists, and not because of gunshot or any beef or anything, but because they had fallen into ill health. So we lost quite a few people. But here we are. We're still standing, still standing. So 50 years of hip hop. So dust off those Tribe Called Quest CDs. Stream you a little Illmatic. Get you some Nas in your life. Do something so you can feel like, reminisce a little bit. Walk down memory lane. I think there's a line in Love and Hip Hop where it's like, when did you first discover hip hop, or when did it discover you, or something to that effect. Sanaa Lathan says that to Taye Diggs in that movie, that charming little rom-com. So yeah, I can remember a few things. I can remember a few things. So I might have to take my own advice and walk down hip hop memory lane and see what's happening. Yes, when did you first fall in love with hip hop? When did you first fall in love with hip hop? Huh. Interesting. So listen, that's a question for all of us. Now that we're all in that age cohort. We are in that age cohort. And that's where we are. So hey, I tell you, for me it had to be Run DMC, and it had to be Sugar Hill Gang. I think Sugar Hill Gang first. I think it was Sugar Hill Gang first. Like, I think, I know that's kind of corny. I don't know. I don't think it's corny. I think it's just appropriate because that's what I was listening to. That's that when that came on the scene, we all were like, wow, wow. And it has been in our community for a long time because it was like Spoonie G, all the cats that could like spin records and like talk over records and stuff and mixing records. And then that was around the time too where mixtapes was becoming a thing, and and people was hustling their mixtapes, and DJs on the radio got into it. So it was a time. It was new and fresh, and people didn't know where it was gonna go. And yeah, there were people who oh yeah, Rappers Delight, that was got your attention. Sucker MC, Run DMC hooked you. Oh yeah. And there was so much anxiety about rap music by the establishment, by politicians, C. Dolores Tucker, the ninny head vice president, Quayle, they was all up in arms. And I'm like, you don't got one good hip hop song in your repertoire? Like, you think it's all just whatever? So anyway, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm lucky in such that I'm straddling all these things, hip hop. I'm a baby boomer, I'm at the tail end of being a baby boomer. So I got the hip hop and all that kind of stuff, and then I just kind of lost interest when it became, a little violent. Oh yeah, Tipper Gore wanted to shut down the industry. Oh yeah, huh? They look like, I know they must look back and like, you know what? I had courage in my conviction, but now, man, history's just playing me wrong. oh, oh my God. Oh, there was some tough times. They was really talking about that stuff too. They was on it. But now, you know what? We have a new threat to rap, that I think is hella dangerous. This using rap lyrics as evidence in crimes. I find that troubling. That you could take somebody's songs and use it against them. Because you wouldn't have done that to Frank Sinatra when he was like, I get no kick from champagne or cocaine. I'm sorry, from cocaine, Miracle Hall. Like he was confessing, like I do coke and I like a little coke, I like a little champagne, and none of it compares to you. I don't know. I just find it all suspect. I just find it as another tool to lock up Black people. That's how I have to look at this, because it just feels suspect. And I don't think that's, because then you could use people's poetry against them or all the things. And I think you can't use entertainment like that as a tool to jam somebody up. I'm just saying. I'm not the brightest bulb in the bunch, and I'm not an intellectual. I mean, I pretend to be. I mean, not pretend. I attempt to be, but trying to be. And I even know better than that. And I think there was a couple of cases where they tried to railroad somebody, with their lyrics, and use it in a court of law, and it got shot down, rightly so, because I think that would set a dangerous precedence. Woo! A dangerous precedence. I don't want to see that. I certainly don't want to see that. But if you attempt it once, it'll come back around. It just needs a more a bigger kind of case, like a bigger case, a much more public figure. They tried it with somebody who, probably was not the biggest case that they could, and I get it. Some of their language in these songs are so blatant and so, I get it. But still, I think you cross a line, I think you cross a line with artistry and how far we're willing to go. Like I don't think that could be the, and I get it, because a brag is a brag, and a brag could be considered a confession, I guess that's the thinking. You bragging about shooting people, or you running around talking about you got your Glock or your whatever, your Ruger or whatever the hell it is, and you bad with it, and then somebody in your camp shows up dead. And yeah, all right, I can see how the cops would be find that problematic. and then take it to a DA, and a DA be like, okay, let's make a case out of this. Let's use this to make the case. And I think once you start though, that sometimes they know they're not going to win this, and they just want to put it out there so that when it comes back around, it's not a foreign conversation. It's not a foreign conversation. Now we used to it. Now you've done heard it. So it's almost like, okay, you used to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's out there. So it's not a shock to your system. You're like, okay, here we come. Here this comes. And then you could almost believe that you could see it. Do you know what I mean? Like you could see it. So I find that challenging. I find that. Harry, there's no surprise that AI it will make false facial recognitions, and then people will get locked the hell up for stuff they didn't do. Because inherent bias and racism is already built into AI. It's just built in. Because the people that write the codes are racist. And they don't even, some of them don't even probably know it. They don't even know that they're racist. They just like, oh, well, I like Black people. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. You like them over there. Not near you. So anyway, I just wanted to just acknowledge that August is Black Philanthropy Month, and the Prosperity Foundation and Community Foundation are posting up all kinds of conversations about Black philanthropy. Black people who give money, and nobody gives more money than the Black church. The Black church, Black people lead in philanthropy in this country, believe it or not. According to the Pew people, Black philanthropy is the leaders of Black philanthropy. So it's Black Philanthropy Month, and that simply means, let me tell you what it means. I'm pulling it up now because I want to make sure I get it right. Love in action. Black philanthropy is love in action. It's love in action. And I'm a Black philanthropist. I have the Free Woman Fund where I have to start dispersing some money, which I need to do. I need to raise a little bit more money. I haven't checked it in a very long time, and I should. And I said at 60, I would start giving away some of this money. And it's just sitting there growing, which I got no beef with. But I have to think about where I want to give. And I came across somebody who's doing some stuff with women in prison, out of prison, and I want them to make the introduction, because I think that might be a good place to put some money. And I like to do that. So we'll see what we can do, and put some money somewhere, and make a little bit of a contribution. But that's what I want to do. So once I get past all, well, I can't even say once I get past all the law school stuff, because that's just around. It's around. It's no good. I just have to carve out some space to think about the Freed Women's Fund. I had thought I wanted to have another fundraiser, which I think I do, probably at the end of the summer, and then start moving a little bit of this money, and then start having regular fundraisers to put money into it, So it's got to be like $15,000 sitting there right now, somewhere around there, 12 to 15. Like I said, I haven't checked it in a very long time. I was so excited about the giving that I have to do it again. So maybe I'll make my own little video about giving. So, and just say, you know what, let me just update you on the Freedom Women's Fund. So this is how much money we have. We haven't given away money yet, because I had said when I started this that I wasn't going to give any money away until I turned 60. That no rhyme or reason, just seemed like a good time to do it. And so now I'm starting to sort of pay attention to where some of this money should go. That will make a real difference to some woman, you know, who's coming out of who's coming home and coming back to community. And my thinking really is about giving money to women so they can have it in their pocket. Because I can't impress upon people how difficult it is to not have your own money, like tangible money. You know, I mean, we've already set up in this country that money is respectability, and money is freedom. Money is you know, we've determined that. That's why, you know, we've determined that, and that's why people will do anything they can for it. Steal it, rob for it, cheat for it, lie for it. You know, we've already we put such a high premium on money that not to have it is debilitating. It is debilitating. And so my thinking is, when women come out of prison, they need a little bit of cash in their pocket. And I mean, if they've served some time, they'll get a little check, a tiny little check from corrections of their money that they was there long enough and had some kind of 15-cent an hour job, you know. But that money will do nothing but wash your clothes. You know what I mean? Like, it's not thousands of dollars. It might be $100, you know. And if you've gone to prison and your family was sending you money for your time, you know, that's an added expense to the family. And when you get out, you know, it's going to be a huge burden to and I know families don't see it that way. And I'm not saying burden like problematic. I'm saying burden like, you know, this is one more thing that families that are already hard pressed have to contend with, right? To make sure that you have basic stuff, if you still have family ties. And there are a lot of people who don't have family ties because those bridges were burned, or they just never had any family ties to begin with, you know. So it becomes challenging to sort of put your hands on cash to take care of your basic personal needs. And yes, there are organizations out there that give you soap and toothpaste and a little bag of toiletries, you know, and there are some organizations that might give you a grocery card for $25 or $50 or whatever. But that's not the same as having some money in your pocket. So when you go visit your kids, you could take them to McDonald's and not be shamed. Do you know what I mean? Like, you could do something with your kids, you know, you could do something, you know. That's how I'm thinking about this. Like, you could, you know, you're trying to and if you have, you know, and a lot of people that have gone to prison, they do have kids, and they're trying to get their kids back if their kids got snatched from them because they got incarcerated, or if kids are staying with grandparents or whatever, and you still not together enough where you could get them yet, or, you know, take them, but you still want to see them and be a parent to them. And I don't know anybody who does not understand that parents want to take their kids to do stuff that they see other families do. And if it's just a trip to McDonald's or to a pizza place or whatever, you need some money to do that, you know. Or if you want to get your kid a gift, right? You get out and you want to give your kid a gift, you know, because you missed all the things. And you don't want it to be some cheesy thing, but you wanted something decent, you know. A little money in your pocket for that. Do you know what I mean? A little money goes a long way into making you feel like you are part of society, because we've already said that's what money is for. So that's my thinking around why I've created this fund and why I want to disperse these funds to women coming out of prison, and it's specifically for Black women, because Black women don't often have access to all the things. And I want to I just want to make a little bit of an inroad there. I listen, I don't have millions. I got a couple of $1,000s. I'll make a little bit of an inroad there. And so I think that's what I'm going to work on as soon as I get back from Martha's Vineyard. And have a conversation with the prosperity people. Say, you know what? I like to identify some places to send this money with a little letter saying, listen, I raised this money for you. I want you to give it to women who desperately need it. Give it out as the way you see fit, and then just send me an end of the year report about what you did with it and whatever, that kind of stuff. Like, I want it to be easy breezy. I don't want this to be a whole thing. Do you know what I mean? I don't want this to be complicated at all. I want to get this money out to people because it's time. And I think I'm gonna have one more fundraiser, and maybe I'll do it at Bloom. I have one more fundraiser at Bloom, and maybe I have a fundraiser at Bloom, maybe a fundraiser at Possible Futures. Like, if you come, you get this book. I don't know if there's any women in prison. I mean, I guess there's some women in prison books. I guess I ought to write one. Been a woman in prison. A woman in prison book. So I'm sure, yeah. Oh yeah, I know some like Patrice Gaines. I know some women. I do. Who are prolific writers. So yeah. So I'm already it's percolating. I'm thinking about this in a real way. I'm thinking about this in a real way. So somebody's getting divorced that we know. Oh, Tina Knowles and Mr. Lawson. I guess it lasted 8 years. They're old people. That's good enough time. She looked like she could be a lot of work, though. I think she looked like she could be a lot of work. Oh, she likes to be a lot of work. But this is what I know, though. You get a certain age, you really cannot tolerate people in intimate spaces. And I bet you, I think she really liked her freedom more than she realized she liked her freedom. And I think she got married because she was so wounded by getting divorced. Because I know that feeling, because I tried to do the same foolishness. I did do the same foolishness. You get in these relationships because you're so wounded and you just want to prove to yourself that you're wanted and that that you're not by yourself and it's not a terrible thing. Well, and then you get on down the road and you're like, oh, I like this level of liberation and freedom. I am not. And I know she woke up one day and be like, why the hell am I married when I just want my freedom? I'm sure that's how that went down. I think listen, I'm only speaking about what I know. When I got out of my divorce, all I wanted to do was recreate the life that I thought I was losing, the life that I thought I was missing out on, because he got married so quickly, after we got divorced, and it didn't look, and he didn't look back. And I thought, man. And so in my mind, and I didn't think this out like that. I just was like, I was just so consumed with being in a relationship, and so I got in a relationship, and it was a very, very bad relationship. It was a very, very bad relationship. It could have been a good relationship if he wasn't a gaslighting, manipulating liar. But other than that, and he was somebody that I knew my whole life. So this is why it made it so easy for me to step into this, because I was like, oh, this is this is what we've always been waiting for. This is what we should have been doing. This is, this is our time. And so he came to live with me, and it was a disaster. And no matter what I did to try to save this thing, and let me tell you, it was like the Titanic. And I tried to save it. And my kids were watching me suffer through this foolishness. And then one day I just woke up and I said, that's it. It's over. Get out. It's done. Swear to God. Because I just was thinking, my kids see me suffering through this foolishness. And I don't want them to see me suffering through this foolishness. So I made a big show of putting that MO out, that MFer out. And never looked back. Never looked back. So I would imagine Tina Knowles woke up and said, okay, why am I married? I really want to run around the world with my good girlfriends and drink champagne and stay out all night and not have to deal with nobody. And I'm sure he's a fine man. Like, he's good looking as hell. But I think women, what happens when they get married, and I think Oprah, and I never understood Oprah when she used to say this, but if she would have married Stetson, he would have had expectations. And I used to be like, oh, that's BS. But I understand it now. I didn't understand it when she said it when I was in my 30s. But I understand it. If I got married, there'd be some expectation that I would be a wife of some sort. I don't ever want to be that again. And listen, I love being a wife, but I like my freedom so much more, so much more than being married. And I'm not knocking marriage, because I believe in marriage. I marry people all the time. I believe in marriage. I believe in happily ever after. I believe in love everlasting. I believe thick and thin. I believe in that stuff. But at this point in my life, unless I don't even know what it would take to make me marry somebody again. I don't even know. And I don't say that from a place of I hated being married. That was probably one of when I was really coming into my own as a married person, because I felt safe in my marriage. I felt secure in my marriage. My husband didn't run around. He didn't do any of that stuff. And but it ended, and now we're friends. Like, we talk, we see. I mean, we got kids in common. I like him more now than I did when I married him, because I could just go away. Like, we have a conversation, and then we don't have to continue the conversation into the house, into the bedroom, into the kitchen. Like, we have the conversation, and then, okay, I'll see you later. That's a level of sweetness right there. So I like him now, and I had to have my period of where I didn't like him, and I just could not, be whatever. But then over the years we gotten back into sync. We never really were out of sync, but I was wounded, and it was painful. It was very painful. And it was just painful to get divorced, and I'm not even afraid to get divorced again. Like, that's not it, because that's life. I'm glad that I can have emotions. I'm glad I felt something about that. I'm glad that it hurt. I'm glad that it dragged me. I'm glad that I rose up from it. All of that, because we're human. I want all the emotions. I don't shy away from the emotions. I don't. People are like, oh, I don't want to get hurt again. What do you mean? You cannot live trying to pick and choose the emotions you want to have. You have emotions as a human being that are full range, and it's all right. And none of them have to kill you. You can have a broken heart and get through a broken heart without jumping off a building, right? Like, you don't have to do that. You can be sad and play all the sad songs. Like, you could be sad and put on Sade and feel like you want to cut your wrist, but you don't. You just pour yourself some good ass scotch, and you just allow yourself to mourn whatever that loss is. And then, girl, you get your fine ass up and put some lipstick on and go out the door and hail you another brother. That is it. That is it. So yeah, so I've done the work of divorce because I used to run a divorce group. So I know. And people get stuck in that divorce story and they can't ever get out of it. I always tell people that's your lesser story. Your bigger story is what you do now. Get out of the lesser story, because I always used to say to people, it's like you drinking poison, hoping that they will die. And they done moved on. I had a woman in my divorce group. This man, she was the first wife. He was already on wife number 4. And she was still so mad about the way he left her for wife number 2. And wife number 2 then went on, did her own thing. Wife number 3 went on, did her own thing. Wife number 4 is like, I should have listened to them chicks. But it was as if they got divorced yesterday. And she was like, I hate the fact that he got away, that he just walked away free. I'm like, girl, you are free too. And so she spends her time finding ways to just get on his, to drive him crazy. And I'm like, that's how you want to spend your life? And she got so mad at me. She stopped coming because she said, I didn't understand. And I was like, no, I don't understand. I said, because he's 3 wives down now and you still suffering. You're still suffering. And why do you want to keep suffering? You're a good looking woman. You still have your vibrancy, but this is eating away at you and it's aging you and crippling you and you're not enjoying your life. What you're doing is you are pining away at somebody who has already married 3 other people behind you and after you. He ain't thinking not one thing about you. And she has fights with him and she wants to, and the kids are grown now. I was like, girl. So that's why I did that work, trying to help women get over themselves and do it in a very social way. Because it was, it was just a lot. So I'm just saying, I like my freedom. I like my freedom. And until I don't, that's where I'm at. So until I meet somebody who I want to share that freedom with, baby, I don't think so. And I love marriage and I'll marry anybody. I'm like, listen, justice of peace and a minister, like one of those little minister people who can marry anybody anywhere around the world. I'll do it. I'm happy to do it. I love marriage. So, and I don't equate love and marriage. You could be in love and not be married. I get it. I like being in love, but I already am in love. I'm in love with everything around me. I don't know if I'll get married again. And I'm 60, so I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Now today I say all this, and then tomorrow I run into the person of my dreams. And then I come back and say, well, that dream space was pretty strong. The dream space is pretty damn strong. I don't know. It was just, listen, he changed my mind. So anyway, I'm back tomorrow with the folks that are doing the art critiques for the new project that the New Haven Independent has launched. Go over there and read their stuff from Tulsa, Oakland, Hartford, and New York. And then we're going to talk. I'm going to catch up with them tomorrow. It's going to be a good conversation. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. And stay dry. It's raining. Oh, I thought Harry was going to play us out with some hip hop. All right.
Time to set it straight, you know what I'm saying? And there ain't no half stepping. Word, I'm ready. Rappers stepping to me, they wanna get some, but I'm the Kane, so yo, you know the outcome. Another victory, they can't get with me. So pick a BC date, cause you're history. I'm the authentic poet to get lyrical. For you to beat me, it's gonna take a miracle. And stepping to me, yo, that's a wrong move. So what you on, Hobbs? Dope or dog food? Competition, I just devour. Like a pit bull against a chihuahua. Cause when it comes to being dope, hot damn, I got it good. Now let me tell you who I am. The B-I-G-D-A-D-D-Y-K-A-N-E. Dramatic, Asiatic, not like many. I'm different, so don't compare me to another. Cause they can't hang